Thank you. Thank you very much, my brother, for this tangible opportunity. I would like to talk about our vacuous, viscous, irritatious, incompetent, unreasonable, irrational leaders. It has come a time where Kenyans have to stand for their own, because there is anyone who is going to fight for us. You can imagine the price of petrol is rising every month without considering the common mwananchi and how he's going to cope with the situation. Despite that, most of Kenyans have been rendered jobless due to the rise of the pregnantic, fatal, vital virus, COVID-19. COVID-19 have made lives of most Kenyans harder and unbearable. Instead of our leaders trying to fix our economy, they are trying to fix Kenyans to ensure they fit in their box. Our leader, President Uhuru Kenyatta, leading the squad of vacuous, viscous, incompetent, irritatious, and irrational leaders in our country. He dared Kenyans and announced a total lockdown in 5 counties without considering negative effects and demerits of doing it. Since I was born, I have never seen a president of that caliber, a president who is irrational, who can't seek advice from the public, who is being advised by self-centered, egocentric, and irritatious individuals who only care for themselves. They don't want to know if Kenyans are surviving or are doing well. They don't care. Even you listen from Cyrus Oguna, who is the spokesperson of our government, telling Kenyans to stop complaining, to stop complaints, and pay the tax as it has been levied. It is a mimic solid to see Kenyans going tasteless and empty-stomached, yet they cured voting for the people they thought they could be leaders, but the only thing they can give back is betrayal and lack of sense and wisdom in their heads. It's quite unbearable. It's quite irrational to see Kenyans dying of hunger, to see Kenyans crying each day. Yet our government have nothing to do about that. You know, instead of giving me a fish or giving a Kenyan a slice of a dried or a cooked fish, as a competent and anticipative leader, you should ensure that you teach Kenyans how to fish for themselves. Teach us how to take that net to the ocean, to the river, to the sea, to the lake, so that we can be capable of fishing for ourselves. We need to be independent, and we can't be independent while we have drunkards, viscous, anemic, olundic, pathetic leaders in our offices. Our offices and state house should be sacred. It is a sacred place that we fought for. Did we fight to be self-independent or to be self-dependent? Did Tom Mboya, Joseph, the only iconic goat I recall who died young, assassinated in the CBD of Kenya's capital, Nairobi, died so that we can self-dependent? Is this how we are going to meet our Vision 2030? With this kind of regime full of thieves, full of tumbocrats? Tom Mboya once said, as Africa or as Africans, we have nothing less or nothing more but to eradicate poverty. How are we going to eradicate poverty with this irrational, zigzag, tiered and shared leadership from our President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is just a drunkard, and he doesn't even consult from people who are wise, anticipative. He just wake up and make a decision which he doesn't even understand how it is. Is it going to affect our economy or the common mananchi? Are we taking our country where our forefathers needed it to be, or are we taking it backwards? Daniel Arap Moi, our second president, once said he would like to see our country on the world's map, to see it shining. Is it, if I may ask, without any fear of contradiction, is the spirit of our late second President Moi at peace? Is it the spirit of Joseph Tom Mboya at peace, who died at a very tender age? He died a youth, just assassinated because he had visions, and he was anticipative and seeing forward for his country to ensure that he changed everything that was not going well and it was not in position. Is his spirit at peace? Is the spirit of Mwalimu Nyerere of Tanzania, who was always talking about ujamaa and unity in Africa, at peace? Is the spirit of the late Kenyatta, the first president of Kenya at peace? Is the spirit of George Saitoti, the Pan-African, the egoless, selfless, and visionary leader of the whole century at peace? Dear Kenyans, it is kind of visionless, and it is kind of irritating to see that we are running our country as if it's a house of someone, or it's a house of fewer individuals. It doesn't augur well. It is leaving us helpless, because we send them to go in offices to ensure that they talk on our behalves. They give our ideas. They stand on our sides, but to make it worse, and it sounds unfortunate that they get there and they only speak for themselves. They speak for their stomachs. They speak for their self-benefits. You can see our MCAs, they even don't care how costly is the bill of BBI. They just did it, passing the bill that is going to cost a common mwananchi of at least 20 billion annually. Are we going ahead? Instead of Raila Amolo Odinga, the oldest and a person who was trying to be on the side of common mwananchi, instead of him postponing or disbanding this BBI. BBI should be disbanded. It has no meaning. It should be rejected. It should be stopped. The reggae should be stopped this time. We should be talking how to fix our economy. Our economy, it is in ICU, and at any time it will collapse. It will collapse and die. It's only surviving on oxygen, and when that oxygen will elapse, and it's automatic that our economy will be dead and will be no more. We should try to be anticipative as common mwananchi, even if we don't have leaders who can talk on our behalf. We are going to suffer if we can't stand firm and talk for ourselves. It no matters what it will take, but what it will take will matter a lot. We should be leaders of ourselves. We should fight for ourselves. We should try to swim so that we don't drown. We can't sit and watch us drowning, yet we are capable of kicking the water and swim so that we can get on the other side of the lake. Kenyans are not saving. You can't save. Zero saving. A country where export is greater than import, or a country where import is greater than export, is considered dead. It's considered dead and dead. There's nothing we can discuss about that. A country where import is greater than export is considered dead and dead. You can look at our country. We are importing everything from China. Everything. You can imagine importing fish. You can imagine importing garlic. You can imagine importing garlic. You can imagine importing old newspaper so that we can use them wrapping our own and other imported things from China. You can imagine we are importing everything. We are importing sugar, and we come here, we brand them Nias, we brand them Nzoia, yet they are from Brazil. We are importing things that are going to affect our health. Kenya had the best sugar ever. We have everything. Our country is rich in agriculture. Our country is rich in raw materials. Why should we sit down as leaders and discuss on how can we have a manufacturing country, a country that depends on its own produce? Aren't we very disgusting? Aren't we very lemurs? Aren't we very stupidic and soulic and somehow pathetic and lunatic in that we can't even think for our future children's? How are they going to survive? Our leaders are being tormented by three spirits. The spirit of Jezebel, the spirit of Saul, and a manic spirit, and even of that of Musevenians. A country that has power, but only 15% of the citizens are the only one who can access the electricity. Do we want our country to develop or to remain lame and kinda stagnant or stranded, stall? Aren't we ashamed of ourselves? Tanzania was behind us many steps, but you can see Tanzania is moving. It's better going ahead with 0.1 than going backward with 0.001. Better. It's kind of better moving ahead with 0.001 than going backward with 0.1. Tanzania had a very updated and digitalized electrified standard gauge rail. Come in Kenya, where we call an ordinary diesel train, we call it SGR. An ordinary diesel engined train, we call it SGR. And for our shameless leaders, starting with Uhuru Kenyatta, you should be ashamed. You have nothing that you will stand and tell Kenyans that this is what you did for us. Nothing. Why am I saying that? An ordinary diesel train costing us 3.5 trillion. 3.5 trillion. Isn't that shameless? Isn't that shameful? Isn't that shameful? Aren't you ashamed of yourself, Uhuru Kenyatta? Aren't you? You should if you aren't. The cost of that ordinary diesel train should have given us updated electrified standard gauge railway that could have run from our port Mombasa to the borders of our neighboring country Uganda in Busia. But I'm not going to talk that much more about that, because Kenyans, they like fearless and deceivious leaders who will come and give them peanuts. You are giving 100 shilling to buy your vote for the next 5 years. You are putting your life in danger. Yesterday, I received an irritating and unpragmatic and luminic information of our country borrowing over 200 billion from IMF to use it in curbing COVID-19. I have been listening, I have been reading, and I have been participating in some of our own services offered by our government. We are being told that the money that was borrowed in the first episode of Corona was given to less fortunate. I have been asking each day and every tick of the clock. I have been asking myself, who are these less fortunate? But I just realized that that less fortunate dramatic ideology is 43rd tribe in our country. I have been able to reach so many less fortunate individuals who have never received any pen from the government, but the amount is being injected as a tax and is going to burden us, is going to burden our children, is going to burden our grandchildren. If we want our country to develop, we should learn how to be self-dependent. We should not borrow that much. We should use whatever we have. We should learn how to curb and how to deal with corruption, so that whatever we get, it remain our amount. Corruption begins at home, begins where a parent give her own or his own child some amount to ensure that he or she remains silent with the matter that involved one parent. It remains in cool coma. So in Africa, I can say without fear of contradiction that corruption is Catholic, Frisias, Olondic, and somehow Nekilek, and vital colonial than even this corona itself. If there is something that is killing Africans, is ego and that corruption. Our leaders are full of ego, are very egocentric, selfish, and self-centered, and to add on that, they are very, very corrupt. They are very corrupted. There is no one in this Africa that is going to stand with you. To add on that, our country, Kenya, is the first, and it should be ranked the best in corruption, the best in tribalic. And that's why we are stranded where Kenyatta left us.